Welcome to the Upholstery Show, live from Arlington, Massachusetts. We're going to serve you up a beautiful bowl of coconut fiber. Really? Here we are, another live question and answer, 2021. I think this was probably, how many lives have we done?
What, at the end of February?
I think done a few of them already in 2021. Probably about 4, 5, 6. I don't know. I lose track. But we're here now live.
Well, you're a superstar. You forget those things as you go.
Jimmy's here, as you can hear. He's in our studio audience. And speaking of our studio audience, we're very excited. Our studio audience has doubled in size, and we're very happy about that. Welcome to the man sitting next to Jimmy in the row behind him. And
another stiff in the crowd.
That is not anything to do with ego. The local bank here has asked us to have a display. Our bank has asked us to have a display, which was very kind of them, in the bank to promote our business. So, what better way, my son felt, would be to have a cutout, a giant cutout, life-size cutout, and display it at the bank with all of our information, which you cannot see. You could just see the top part of it. Probably the most unimportant part of it, right, Jimmy?
Well, yeah, I thought there kind of should have been me up there, but that's all right.
That's all right. Listen, if he's kicking your seat...
interchangeable heads is what we'll have. How's that?
If he's kicking your seat, just let us know, okay?
He's not really doing a whole heck of a lot.
No, I know. It's not much different from the guy
Maybe we can have him talking next week. We'll figure out a way to get him talking.
Well, anyhow, we are busy. We have a few things to do. We're kind of excited because Jimmy's going to come up here later on and show us how much progress he's made. If you saw the class last week, you're going to be astounded at how much progress Jimmy has made, and we'll have him up here and we'll talk about that towards the end. But for now, and then I'm going to answer some questions. I don't have pieces really that I can demonstrate, but I'm going to try to answer the questions, especially one question that we had about a wire edge seat, which doesn't come up that much in my shop because I don't like them, to be honest with you. But sometimes when people are repairing, they need to repair them. I'm going to show you how to do that. Hopefully it translates well. It's going to be done on the board over there, but we'll get to that too. But first, well, the very first thing, if you have any live question and answers, please, and comments, please don't hesitate to do that anytime. That's why we're here, as the support for the online classes, right? And to ask the questions. And if you're upholstering right now, any questions you have, and anybody's welcome to join in. YouTube fans, people on the online classes, anybody who wants to join in, or even a homeowner that has a question about things, that's fine too. That's fine. So we'll take priority over everything else that we're doing. And I think I'll check in with Patrick and Michaela to see if there are any comments. Not yet. Okay. We had a great show last week. We're still trying to figure out the timing. Last week, same time, right, Patrick?
Yeah, with the difference was we took a week off.
Oh, we took a week off.
So we had a lot of backlog questions.
We had a lot of backlog questions, and it was really busy, but there were also a lot of people. And we're really happy with the Facebook forum, Jimmy. And I say to Jimmy because you've been keeping up with
new members every week.
How many now? Because you
a good 5 this week, I believe.
Really?
Yes, I don't keep count, but I know when I see them, I'm like, I get a response. I respond right away to them.
I'm just loving. At first when we first did it, it was a really slow start, and I guess that's typical. But I'm starting to really like the interaction between students, how they're supporting one another, which is the whole reason, right?
Right. Well, people show up with the pictures of their furniture. What should I do? Here's what I think.
There's been some interesting projects. One of them was a chair. I think it was a corner chair that the spring tying had to be done a little differently. It was a little trick that I learned a long time ago, which I gave to the person on the forum, and they actually tied the springs through 2 holes in the webbing, which gave them a lot more room up at the top rail, which didn't have much room to put a jute twine in.
Okay.
Right. So it was really interesting to talk about those things. These things don't come up a lot, but when they do, you want to know what to do. And the forum is a great reference too, isn't it, Jimmy? You can go on there and reference old comments. Mm-hmm. And I guess I forgot that aspect of it. I'm always telling people, Patrick, you got to remind me. I'm always telling people to reference the YouTube videos, but I'm going to add the forum too, because there's been some good back and forth in the forum, right?
Yes, especially, like I say, people are posting their projects.
Yeah.
And, you know, we have a few regulars that do that, and I think it's great when you kind of get the variety of projects that they're doing.
Speaking of variety, Jimmy, I had something that came in, a combined 90 years of experience, myself 45, and a friend of mine who's been in the wood business for 45. A chair came in, and that's been on the forum. This chair right here, I'm just going to pull this into view. This is still in the shop. It's hopefully going out Saturday. But I can't get any information from the family about this. I'll say something is, yes, it is an antique, yes, it is valuable, and that's it. I can't, nothing else. But we've been wondering about this, these back pieces here and what they meant. And I think, Jimmy, I think Jimmy saw this, and I think he saw it. It spelt out his name in hieroglyphics. Is that right, Jimmy?
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Jimmy.
yeah, right off the bat I knew it. I'm like, wow, I didn't know.
You know, that's my chair. He said, well, who knows?
They were thinking of me. What did I know?
Everything's about you, Jimmy.
Yeah,
Right?
it's all, yeah, it's tough being me, but ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, I try to do it each and every day.
But anyhow, I still think, somebody commented, I think, do you have those comments on it? No, Patrick, you don't.
Yeah, you responded on Facebook. But
Yeah, but somebody had some, there's some interesting,
If you want me to summarize it, I can.
I still think it's the seasons. I think I'm looking at it from backwards now. The winter, I think spring, summer, and fall. That's what I think. 4 seasons.
Planets was one.
What?
Planets
Was one. I think
Susan
somebody
was saying an alien sign.
an alien sign
That was
saying
cool. But she said planets, so.
well, if it was an alien sign, what would it say, Jimmy? Putting him on the spot.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was about to talk to Pam because she wanted to know about my settee.
Right.
Oh.
Did I mention when I'd say, Pam, that's actually going to be a online class.
Yes.
That's we feature, and that's going to be, I'd say August. That's going to go up. So still, it's a while away because we have Jimmy's next chair going up in 2 weeks.
Wow.
On the
I mean,
class.
you know, I work dog day and night here. I can't believe
I
it.
know, Jimmy, and
And I haven't got that trailer
you're
yet.
getting very well compensated for it.
So
Yeah.
carved mahogany, Jimmy. That's going up
Carved
in 2
mahogany.
Carved mahogany. Okay.
This happens to be birch. My wood guy told me, you know, if everybody's wondering what type of wood this is, it's birch, which does absolutely nothing to identify the origins of the chair because birch is everywhere, right?
Well, how old is the chair again?
Over 100 years old, we can
Okay.
say easily.
Well, would you think that it would be one of a kind, even of a set?
It's one of a kind as far as that design goes. I mean, it is a platform rocker, a very well-made platform rocker. And I think the needle point's original, if that helps people, because it's so brittle right now. It's like so dry.
God, you'd have to find a historian somewhere.
Well, I think Gabrielle has been doing some
She
extensive
is
research, hasn't she?
unbelievable. Her and I
She's-
talk, and she is
Yeah,
incredible.
she's a
You're
wealth
supposed
of...
to show the bottom. Does it have an H mechanism?
What's that?
On the bottom?
She wants to show the bottom. Well, let's lift it up. I honest with you, I don't know what she means by that. It has double springs on each side. Do you see that? I don't know if that helps her to identify it.
Okay.
She's like the Columbo of
She
furniture.
is the curator
like-
of the upholstery. I would give her the job as curator of upholstery on Broadway.
Sherlock Holmes.
Sure.
Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, right?
Yeah.
Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. You know, there's Doyles in my family, and some people in the family said that we had some relation to. I should probably be able to figure this out, right? If that's the case, Jimmy.
Well, it doesn't, you know, I mean, again, you never see, that type of chair would probably not ever be seen but in a,
90 years between my
Antique
friend and
shop.
I. 90 years, nobody's seen this chair. Anything quite like it.
no, and you know what? It looks a lot newer than 90 years.
Well, no, that's the experience my friend and I had
Oh, I'm
combined, and we didn't know, you know, never seen it like a chair like this.
No.
Everything's symmetrical. I've never seen something that's not. I guess what they call that
Somebody
asymmetrical.
obviously had an idea to make something, and this is what they did.
I think it was, you know, maybe it was the first meteorologist said, "I want to design a chair that
You're
speaks
thinking
of
again.
You never know.
Stop that.
Yeah, we're going to stop now. We're going to go on to the questions now, Jimmy. And you'll come up here later, right?
Oh, yeah.
Is that guy behaving
Well, I mean,
behind you?
You got this guy here, he's not doing a damn thing. Look
He's-
at him. He's smiling all the time. What the hell's that about?
Never trust a man that smiles all the time.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything.
All right, so we got questions. We got 3 questions from the same person,
Well,
Sandra.
Janine's question is first.
What?
Janine's question.
Oh, yeah, right, one. You got it marked there. My bad, sorry. Janine says, great question and answer, guys, probably from last week. Can't wait for Jimmy's French love seat to go to the online classes as I'm holding off doing my project's 3-piece French antique suite.
Oh.
So I can double check my techniques. Boy, I'll tell you what, our students are top shelf, top notch, aren't they, Jimmy?
Well, we had a good lesson today. This was very interesting. This is all new. Pam, I watch for it. Very interesting to me because I had no idea how this was going to be done. And again, it's great to have that little bit of information. It takes you a long way to get an idea of how things really are put together.
So your settee, you had what we call a pre-World War II treatment, which is used, a lot of the organics are used, like the horsehair and the hay,
Yes.
and the cotton for batting, which was all no good, which you had to take out. And then you went to, you kept some of the components, like the coil springs, but then now you're completely gone to a post-World War II treatment, which gets into more of the synthetics.
Yes.
And so the difference is, especially you found on the back, there was probably a 10-hour difference or 12 or 15-hour difference between using the old techniques and using the new techniques. I mean, when you think about it, that 2-inch foam that you used on the back there, it comes in a sheet. So normally you would have to take 2 layers of horsehair, a handful at a time, and hand stitch it and then muslin down for the same effect.
Right.
You know, or close to it. I still am a big believer in the horsehair, but you know, there's practical reasons why you can't always do that.
But how much horsehair would you have needed? I mean, because of...
Well, I would have ordered a 15-pound bag, a 15-pound box, which sounds like a lot, but it really, in volume, it's only about which we have right on the online classes,
Yes.
as well as the materials that you use, the new materials that you used here. But that box comes, I think it's 1 foot by 1 foot by maybe 3 feet. That's the volume of the 15 pounds of horsehair.
Okay.
You know, and that would be enough to stuff this whole thing.
Okay.
But that is expensive. I wouldn't lie. What
How
is
much
a
would that
15
be?
pounds, Patrick? Do you know off the top of your head?
What is it, the horsehair?
Horsehair,
It's
great.
like, it's in the hundreds, I know.
Well, I think it's even more than
I have a
that.
question for you.
Yes.
How thick do you, how much would you have to need? How many boxes?
You'd have a double layer on that.
So that would
One
be-
box would do it. Your 15 pounds would do that on that.
Okay.
It would do your back, and it would do what you need for the seat.
Wow.
But not the outside back doesn't get horsehair, so it's just
Well,
the
would you use
inside.
the same technique as it was originally
Yes,
on there?
yeah.
Wrap it up and...
Yeah, you have to. You pick it. It comes loose. It's called loose horsehair.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean you don't have to pick it. You do have to pick it from the box. So you're taking it out of the box and you're kneading it like you do dough. You're loosening it up and you're taking a handful at a time.
Okay.
And you start on the bottom. And this one you'd start at the bottom all the way from this side, a handful at a time, and then you're kneading each handful together. And you're creating a whole row on the bottom. So when you're done with that row, it looks like one piece. So you get that good. It's actually very tactile. It's kind of a nice thing to do. And then a second row, a handful at a time, and then a third row and a fourth row. By the time you're done, you probably have 6 rows on that.
Now,
And
each
then-
row you have to sew?
No, you don't know, because when you're done that with that, it's one piece.
It's one, because
Then you sew it.
Then you sew it all together.
Yeah, it would be a mistake actually to sew one row at a time,
Okay.
because then you wouldn't be able to knead it together as well.
Okay. Now, do you have a video on that? On how to make...
Gee, I'm not sure, Jimmy, if we
I'm
do
just
that.
asking because,
Yeah. Patrick,
There's been video of the horsehair, but I don't know if it's just about the kneading the horsehair.
we may
Well, I
not.
mean, to give like a how-to lesson how to...
No, but I have a funny story about horsehair. You know, we used to conduct
Not my
classes.
coconut fiber thing. Yeah.
No. We used to conduct classes. I think I've told this before, but I don't care. It's worth telling again, all right?
Okay.
So we had 12 people at a time in here. That's when social distancing wasn't even thought about.
Yeah, that was a good day.
I mean, those were, we're clanking our heads together, man. That's how close we were, right?
Well, I remember.
1 year ago. So
I
long ago.
remember.
It seems like a long time,
You
Patrick.
talk about the number of people in this classroom, that you would move into your side chair and to do that, and then, okay, I know Jimmy's got to get in, so I'm going to go to the front, and then I'd move in back and forth. People would go.
Oh, it would be like calisthenics. It would be like a workout for me. I'd be back and forth. Everybody's at a different stage. Everybody has different learning styles.
But it was great because we all kind of watched each other say, wow,
Yeah, it was
look at that.
fun.
Look at the material. Oh my God.
It was fun. And we tried to film a class like that. It didn't work so well, right, Patrick?
I saw the footage. I don't know
We
what
still have to figure. I don't think it worked well because it's so fast paced. It's like, what's it like? It's really fast. It's like fast motion.
Well,
And-
right, because you're watching somebody strip down a piece.
He couldn't
somebody
keep up
jabbing.
with me. I think what I need is to put a GoPro on my head,
Oh yeah.
maybe. Right, Patrick?
Yeah, but that
What?
wasn't shaky.
Because it would be shaky and it wouldn't be as good quality, right?
Yeah, but there's some good cameras out there.
What, small cameras?
Oh, yeah.
there are.
Well, anyhow, it was fun. So I wanted to say, I had this, you got to imagine this. There's 12 people in here, there's me, there's 13, 14 people in here at once. Plus, I used to keep the door open so customers would come in. Do you remember that, Jimmy? We used to have the customers come in at the same time.
Well, do you remember what I said? Well, I think it might be definitely. Do you remember what I said to him one time?
No.
Oh God. Yeah, I had said.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Me ready for the mute button.
I had said, well, this is great since pre-release program from MCI Concord, and the woman kind of looked at me and thought, oh my God, he's got a prisoner here.
Well, Jimmy, you're
People who don't
talking.
know that's a prison, local prison.
You're talking about therapeutic, how therapeutic upholstery is, and I did teach this for 4 years as a therapy
Yes.
upholstery, and I could tell you the results were fantastic, because it's challenging at the same time. It's a lot of the handwork, and a lot of times that right brain is so important in recovery. And you hear the old cliche about the basket weaving in the institutions. That's, but believe it or not, basket weaving had a purpose. It really did, and it's a really you end up with a beautiful product. The thing about basket weaving is there are advances to that, but in upholstery there's so many different aspects. So it was really useful in a therapy to get people working again or thinking maybe to re-enter society. In the case they do have programs in prisons, that teach this.
Yeah, you weren't expecting what I said, so.
Yeah. So we could have 12 people in here. There's me. There's like 13 people, and then in walks 2 or 3 customers at a time, and it makes for some very interesting exchanges. Right? It was fun.
Yeah. Well, I remember a woman coming up to me. What are you doing here? Oh, I see this. And then of course you're trying to explain it, and of course trying to give her the best presentation. Oh, geez, I'd like to do a classes, and of course now I'm sponsoring the classes, saying, well, this is really happening.
You were a great spokesperson for the class. So I didn't finish my story. So my job was to keep everybody engaged and keep them with tasks, which is really hard to do with that many people in upholstery. But one person, I said, okay, you need to pick your horsehair. She had horsehair that came out of the chair, and she needed to repick it. So I set her out on the sidewalk, not thinking. I'd set her out on the sidewalk with the horsehair because it's so natural for me. And there's a barber shop next door here. So she went out on the sidewalk on a chair. I set her up. She had a sheet on the ground. You got to imagine the visual. And she's picking this, what looks like hair, not horsehair. So people would be, it was a busy Saturday, it was a beautiful Saturday. There were a lot of people out on the sidewalk, but people were going across the street. Because, to them it was like, what's she doing with our hair?
Yeah, what's that? And I remember a blonde-headed woman. She did a chair from. She did a pleather chair.
Yeah.
She did a refinished with a pleather.
But we had a lot of fun. Those classes were so informative. I think that if anybody's out there interested, I know Janine, I think, is going to be teaching. She's definitely committed to that, I think. I think what she's going to find, anybody that wants to do that, I would encourage you to do that. I think we've given tips on how to do that, right, Patrick?
Uh-huh.
We did a video on that, didn't we?
You got one about the business.
Business, but maybe how to teach did we do one how to teach an upholstery class?
Not yet. That you
We
wanted to
we
do
have
that.
to do that because I think there's some people out there ready for that, and I think that will, on many levels, it will help your business. You'll get more business, I guarantee it. But more importantly, it will make you a better upholsterer because I know that that's what it did for me. Having all these people and they're all the different ideas and different techniques, and I learned some things from my students for sure. Anyhow, let's get back. Do we have any questions, Patrick,
A lot of comments about the chair.
about this chair?
I can catch you up. Terry asked, is it a platform rocker?
Yes.
Gabrielle clarified that is a Hunzinger used an H-shaped spring, not coil.
Okay.
So maybe that's not what it was. And then SG said, I saw a lot of these exact same styles of chair online. I think it said from the Federal era.
With this hand carving?
That's what SG says.
Federal area.
Federal era.
No kidding.
How come you didn't know that?
I don't know everything.
Daniel tells you to be careful with the chair. When he picked it up, he almost destroyed it then.
Oh, believe me, if I damage this chair, I'm not gonna. I'm not. It was a very difficult repair to begin with, and I just want it out of here at this point because I don't want anything to happen to it. Because you got a big guy like Jimmy. He's 6'7" and 500 pounds. He thinks he's gonna just sit on the chair. He goes. You ever notice that the biggest guys go for the smallest chairs? It's the Murphy's law. It
Yeah,
happens.
true? I didn't
Yeah,
know
it
that
is. It's
before.
true. I saw you
I like
scoping
cushions.
this out. I saw you scoping it out.
I
Wanting
like cushy, spread out, like one of those couches up there that you have on the side here.
Yeah, I get. We're gonna get to that too. If we stop chattering him. Oh,
Yeah, well, look who runs a little bit here.
you're saying you probably should be more like the guy standing behind you.
Yeah. And this-
We gotta get a camera on him in the future Q&As.
Oh, you don't have a camera on him,
A
Patrick?
separate camera.
Oh, a separate camera.
Wait a minute!
just take it off, Jimmy. If people could stand two of me. So,
Oh, God,
I should
yeah.
have put the camera on that while Jimmy's talking.
I always now upholstery, ventriloquism.
So Jane says, re-arts and crafts chair, could it be the Earth, Moon, and Sun? Earth, Moon, and Sun, I guess she's saying Sun, Earth, Moon, right? Yeah, I guess so. It's up to interpretation, I guess. So now we get into the same person. Sandra has 3 comments,
A
which
lot of
I
nice comments.
really appreciate it. She's really becoming a fan, I think, of the YouTube channel. Is she a subscriber? I hope.
Yep.
I want to remind people to subscribe too, by the way.
Yes.
We find out our closest friends haven't subscribed. Have you subscribed, Jimmy?
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, when I get up in the morning, have my cereal, I have you on the YouTube. I don't know why.
We might be able to arrange to have that cutout go over to your apartment.
No. Sorry, no room. Sorry.
You draw the line, right?
No, sorry. No.
He draws the line, Patrick.
We got a nice little close-up on that.
And so Sandra says, repairing a popped or broken button. You are truly a master craftsman. Thank you. And I think we did 2 on that. One where we had a lot of dislikes on the one that I devised some tools from the home and a technique to try to fix a button with the materials they have at home, which granted is not half as good as having the professional tools. But I did that. I think there's a little bit of a disclaimer on there saying it's not going to always work.
Yeah.
But I noticed we have a lot of dislikes on that, Patrick. I hope that people realize that I was just trying to try to save people money on some of these videos. They're public service. We started that way, as a public service.
You?
Yeah.
You kidding?
I got Jimmy up on the screen now.
Jimmy's up on the screen.
Yep.
See. So Sandra says, come back to me now.
The real you. Which you?
Go ahead, Kevin.
I'll go back. There you go.
We're having a lot of fun today. You believe I don't even drink. Can you believe that, Jimmy?
Fooled me. How many
This-
years have I known you? 8?
This is only soda water.
Yeah, okay.
I'll get back to the actual Jimmy here.
I'm competing against,
Cut out. All right.
You guys are going to pay for this someday, you know that?
Sandra says, Excellent teaching. I'm learning so much. And she's talking about the how to double piping, how to do double piping. And then we have how to upholster outside back with dining room chair, again on YouTube. And she says, thank you so much. Oh, I think all these comments mean something, you guys. I think they say, what do they say, Patty? For every comment that you get on your YouTube, maybe there's 10 people who would have commented or would have liked to comment but didn't, or something like that?
Yeah.
How does that work?
don't know.
They represent, each comment represents an amount of people.
Right.
So
a
they're,
lot of people would have said the same thing.
right? What does
I
it
don't
say?
A lot of people would have said the same thing, so they're not going to reiterate what you said.
Or maybe, yeah, is that right? I mean, so, for instance, this is what I know. We calculated that for every view, or for every person that goes on there, I think it's 1/10 actually subscribe. That's a low number, isn't it?
But having a subscription, you get an idea. I mean, it doesn't have to be a religious thing as far as getting on every YouTube episode.
Right.
But the idea of learning a little bit as you go, a little bit at a time. Yes, it can be overwhelming, but a little bit, whether you're going to do the project tomorrow, whether you're going to do it 6 months from now, get an idea, say, geez, yeah, okay, let me see what I can do here.
Right. So we got number 6 is from Bob. This is how to upholster a Biedermeier chair. What a craftsman. Thank you for sharing. Finishing a decorative painting has been my game for over 50 years. But I'm getting into furniture making and repair. Imagine that. He's starting all over. He's starting something
Furniture
new.
making.
Repair.
Oh,
And may
wow.
try my hand at a few chairs. You know what one thing I would love to do, Jimmy,
What's that?
if I ever have time? I'd love to learn how to do stained glass.
Stained glass.
Wouldn't that be beautiful?
Yes, that is a beautiful. They actually have stained glass classes.
I know. I wish I had the time.
I've done glass blowing.
You have?
Oh yeah, I've made a few. I made a Halloween pumpkin, a salad bowl, and a paperweight.
Ladies, did you hear that? This guy does everything. He does ballroom dancing. He does glass blowing. He does upholstery. He does sewing. What else do you do, Jimmy?
I can
Cooking.
bake. I can cook and bake.
He cooks and bakes. He cleans up after himself too.
I do.
Hey, that's wonderful, Jimmy.
Huh?
Where do you find the time to do all that
I
stuff?
mean, you learn as you go.
Yeah.
I mean, when I'm making something at home, I've learned.
I guess it brings up a good point. A lot of the things that you do, you take adult ed classes in the Boston area, right? Adult
They have an
education.
awful lot in here.
So you've taken my class to adult ed.
Yes.
You've
glass
taken
blowing.
sewing,
I've done a woodworking class only because. of-
woodworking. That's 3.
Yeah. Ballroom dancing.
The glass blowing 4. Ballroom dancing 5.
Mhm.
What else?
The cooking and baking are all at home.
Right, but that's amazing. So these are all. Now, where do you find the energy at night?
Oh, I'm usually done by 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night.
Wow, yeah, but this is fabulous.
But most of the baking and cooking is done on the weekend.
So for all of you guys watching, I know that some of our students do take or were taking classes. This is one of the sad things about this pandemic and the closure of schools is that, and nobody talks about this because of course the kids are number one. I know that the kids. We feel bad for the children who can't go to classes, and these Zoom classes are starting to get really old fast at this point because these kids need to socialize. But a lot of people don't realize that the nighttime use of the schools were for adults who English as a second language classes and
Math
all
classes.
these math classes, these things to improve yourself and this is such an important thing for the overall mental health of a community,
Well, it
So
is.
we hope to get back. We miss
It's
these
very
classes.
hard. I mean, especially if somebody, to me, and here's something you probably don't know. I was taking piano lessons before this all started.
Piano lessons.
Mhm.
That's 6 or 7.
Okay. Well, the point being is that, with online classes, unless you're already into the know of what to do and how things work, to me, it was not going to be beneficial because I am total beginning with it.
Right.
So again, somebody with, let's say, ballroom dancing, who may, as they say, have 2 left feet, well, you may want that one-on-one interaction because you want to be sure you know what you're doing and not leaving yourself elsewhere.
Right.
And I think that's true for whether it's about learning a language or, again, learning an instrument or something. Again, woodworking, for example, like you say, that would be a very hard thing to do. I mean,
Yeah.
some things you just can't really fathom because you really don't know about the lesson.
Nothing beats the one-on-one, that's for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's why we tried to structure our own online classes in a one-to-one. That's why we do that. And we found that once we left anything we do beyond that on the online classes, like we leave that venue that we've got set up, it doesn't translate well. I mean, I don't think the Zoom classes worked out really great, Patrick.
No,
I think
it
that
would have been too tough.
I don't know if three-dimensional television would work better. I don't know, but we'll still work. We'll work on it. We're always trying to do new ideas. Patrick's always improving, which, by the way, the online classes, they've been working. These two, Michaela and Patrick, have been working really hard in getting these. What are you doing? Restructuring, redesigning them or something, Patrick?
Yep, and it's pretty much done.
Wow.
Next week, phasing it into the old classes. Then in 2 weeks it'll be good to go fully.
I was watching a little bit of it, and it's unbelievable what he's done. I think people are going to enjoy it, maybe even from the entertainment value, just to watch.
The videos are the same for the classes, but just it looks a lot better too. So.
But it looks easy, but it isn't. And I think Patrick's got some compliments from professional people. I don't think I'll mention his name, but it was somebody that everybody would know from New York. He was in a very popular television series. Was an announcer for that series. That's all I'm going to tell you. But he.
Did he mention me?
Very well. No, he didn't mention you, Jimmy, as part of those. What's that? Screen Actors Guild SAG. No, you
Not
don't.
him.
No. But he commented and complimented the production because he knows.
Right.
Patrick's got 3 camera angles here. He's got the best audio. I didn't know. Who would have known? That audio is probably trickier than the visual part.
Audio for this kind of stuff is really hard.
It's hard because Patrick is
all the machines going off, and
he's a perfectionist. He's a perfectionist. He can hear things like. Do you hear that? There's like a little sizzle back there, Jimmy. That's not you, is it?
No.
Maybe it's the cutout.
I'm not deflating or molting.
It's the compressor. It's the compressor leaking.
Downstairs.
We have it up here, but just a little bit. And there was another noise in here we have electric heaters. And one of the electric heaters was on, and he was picking that up in the microphone. Little things like that.
Wow.
And then, God forbid, he should have a radio station playing in the back and have it on YouTube, and then having a copyright infringement because they pick.
Well, that's why you could probably sing through it, Kevin. Maybe, a little.
Well, I bet if I sang a song, they'd have a copyright infringement on it, too. You got to be careful with that.
Unless he wrote it.
And that brings up an important thing. This is original content. And this is what our friend in New York brought up too. Original content is really difficult to do on a daily basis, right? And we do this on a weekly basis, but on the online classes, they're done a lot too. So there's so much material still that we haven't covered, Jimmy. We're gonna be doing this for a while.
I think I might have my hands on a channel back chair.
Oh, channel back! Did you hear that, you guys? A lot of people have been asking about that.
I know. I think the variety again, the settee and the ottomans, and trying to get some ideas for people who want to get into it and give it a shot.
Yeah. So the next one is how to make a double piping. Another comment on that. This is from Wendy. She says, "Thank you for sharing your craft. You explained double piping well for the beginner." So I try to talk when we're doing these classes. I hope that we're beginner to journeyman, early journeyman to mid journeyman, and then I'm hoping that upholsterers can enjoy full professional upholsterers also. I think that they can learn from me if they ever want to teach. Because teaching is a whole different element to what we're doing, right, Jimmy?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
So and getting back to the adult ed, there's so much opportunity there for people. Some people put their nose up at the adult ed. I never have. I think adult ed opens up a lot of doors for people. I really do. By the way, some adult ed programs pay you $25 to $30 an hour, and it's all based on your performance. If you'd have a class that's full, and you have another class that's full, and you keep that momentum going, and people sign up over and over again, guess what? You become the favorite in the adult ed, and they make even better offers to you. I mean, I think it's a great way to earn some supplemental income. If you have business, you get an upholstery business that's struggling a little bit, I don't care where you are, And here's the good news in this country. I know some people are watching from other countries. I'm not sure how it's done in Ireland or anywhere else except America. There's money. It's mandated that they have to have these nighttime classes
Yes.
to use these buildings.
Yes.
This is mandated, right? It's like cable TV in this country. We could do this show at our local cable TV for free.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, but there's certain restrictions on that, right, Patrick? This is why we choose to do it the way we
couldn't
do.
advertise. And
We
all
can't
that stuff.
advertise or anything like that. So, but we have the freedom. We've designed. I think what Patrick's done here is the equivalent of a movie. 20 years ago, this would be a high-end movie theater in one of the local stations, like 4, 5, or 7.
Right.
This is the equipment and the technology. I mean, Patrick has a mixer back there. I don't know if anybody knows how to use a mixer, but you know, all those things and the software that's put into this. We've got all the cutting-edge software. So I think we're doing a great job in presentation. We can always, there's room for improvement, I know.
#1 upholstery channel.
#1 upholstery channel. Who said that, Patrick? You? Or that guy, that cutout guy back there? And then now we got Caddy, pricing in the upholstery business. We were just talking about that. That was a video we did. Great video. I am wondering how you account for shop supplies, staples, threads, etc. that you use a small amount on every project. So this is really important to know, and I don't know if I mentioned it in that show. But upholstery, start up an upholstery business. If you've got the skill, you got to have the skill, or people that you hired who have the skill. The startup costs are almost inconsequential when you compare it to other trades. So let's say you want to be a plumber. Let's say you want to be an electrician. Let's say you want to be a carpenter. The list goes on and on. Setting up in those businesses, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in tools and equipment.
Even just the basics.
But guess what? In upholstery, I mean, again, I'm going to plug the online class. We have all of the supplies that the online upholstery, BroadwayUpholsterySupply.com, where you can find all the supplies, and we have kits. For under $1,000, you can get yourself set up on the tools and the supplies. The supplies would be a little bit more, maybe another $500. For $1,500, you have the beginnings of a shop. So in answer to this question, though, I'll get back to this question. I keep it very slim here with what I have. I don't over order. I don't order in bulk because I don't have the space. I worked in a shop once where they ordered in bulk. For instance, on cotton, they used to get bales of cotton, Jimmy. Do you know how heavy a bale of cotton is? When you go by a farm and you look out on the where they rolled up the hay,
Yeah.
that's how big the cotton is rolled up like
Oh my
that
God,
with
really?
burlap sacks. So if I'm not mistaken, I have to remember this. We had 5, 10, 50, I think there are 20 rolls in a bale. And that's heavy. That's hundreds of pounds.
Right.
So they used to come with the truck. Guess whose job it was to take it up 2 flights of stairs by himself?
Well, that's because you were the low man on the
I was the low man on the totem pole.
They said, let's get this guy, let's run him right out.
Do you know how we used to have to do it? Roll it up 2 flights of stairs. You know what that's like, rolling up that much
It
cotton?
got you in shape, though. You thought you were Arnold after a week,
I'll
right?
tell you what, I don't want to relive those days. I don't think I could do that now.
Let's try it. Let's give it a shot.
Well,
Let's
so anyhow,
relive the past here for a minute.
keep it slim it down. You know, you don't need a bale of cotton, really, unless you're a shop with 10 upholsterers working full time. You know.
You need, you know what, especially in a limited space.
Yeah.
Really,
So now we have our favorite Pam, founding member, Jimmy, of the forum, Broadway Upholstery Forum, and she has this beautiful furniture that she's showing us here. And Patrick's probably got it up now. And before I get to this, though, because it is the last thing, is there any questions, comments, or anything that we should get to first?
Some comments. Terry says she started her career in adult ed in the late 70s.
Wow.
Very
wow,
cool.
yeah.
Who's that, Patrick?
Terry.
Wow. Yeah. That's about when I started. That would be about when I started, too, like
They
about the early
they got
80s.
an awful lot of classes, people trying to catch up with, something they hadn't done. They were advancing on a job, so they, God, I haven't used math. Oh, let me take that math class. Let me take the language class, a simple basic Spanish. Italian or whatever it might have been.
You know, I have a friend that teaches a class in history. I don't know if he has a degree in history, but he knows a lot about history. So he formatted it that was attractive, and he's become very popular. He's become like a local kind of historian who's gained a little fame through the adult ed classes.
Wow.
So this is another thing you don't realize, that that they give brochures and they give a biography of all the instructors in the back, and you could say you work for, even though they're a nonprofit, you could say where you work, what your shop's name is in the back. And every person that comes in is like a walking advertisement for you if they're happy with the class.
Yes.
So it's really kind of a great way to get your name out there too.
Yes.
So I was wondering if Carrie, if she's still watching, did she use that as a stepping stone to open up a business? Because I know I did that. People, you become known as, and then when you say, people have a confidence in an upholsterer that teaches. They'll say, oh, if he teaches, he must be good, so I'm going to use him. Whereas this other guy doesn't teach. So sometimes it comes down to that too in a sale. They like the idea that you're a teacher and that you're out in the community and
You're recognizable.
Yeah. So Jimmy, Pam says, thank you for the tips about how to close the back 2 weeks ago. I used the ply grip for the top back curve and hand sewed the sides. Fabulous. These chairs sold within minutes of getting to the shop.
Wow.
Where I rent a little booth at exclamation. She's got a lot of exclamation. Well, she's got one exclamation for it. She's only got one. Sorry, Pam. I tend to exaggerate.
A lot.
Well, I was counting the eyes. She's got a lot of eyes in there, too.
Do you want me to clean those glasses?
And then she says, I hand painted, I probably shouldn't have them on because I'm nearsighted. I hand painted the stripes with fabric paint. Oh, wait a minute. On pre-washed and dried duck cloth. Did you hear, Jimmy, are you listening to this? Those stripes she's hand painted. She's very brave.
Cool.
What, Patrick?
That's very cool.
That is cool, isn't it?
I thought it was the fabric.
I did too, but you know what? She's brave to get paint. I mean, she had to be really precise on that, didn't she? On pre-washed and dried duck cloth and heat set with an iron per the fabric paint instructions. Fabulous. And then she's got a big happy face. So you've hit the mark there as far as knowing what your customers want. Those are very beautiful chairs. Very sleek looking. I would call them Martha Washington chairs. Not your classic Martha Washington chair, but it's close enough. And she's got also pictures to the right of the process. So I always like that too. Thank you, Pam, for sharing. And so we'll put this away. Now I'm going to get to a little bit. We're all done with this. I'll let you guys know if I get any more information on this chair with the customer, but I'm not sure. All right. One of the things that came up, I don't know if you can, yeah, I'm going to bring this over. Somebody's been asking about, and I think I've had a few people over the years, and I've not had the piece of furniture in here to show you. But I want to try to give you an idea, you guys, of what we're looking at here. So they're asking, the question is, how do you tie the front of a wire edge seat, right? So I'm not sure, Patrick, if you have the information on who that was asking recently about that. If you don't, it's okay.
I don't think I do.
So usually what we see with the wire edge seat, first of all, I want to talk a little bit about the framework. So this is the front of a sofa. Sorry, I'm not that much of an artist, believe it or not. I bet Michaela could have done a much better job here. So this wood rail that comes across here is usually very small. It's not high. If it were high, you get into what we call a hot edge. And most of you see what a hot edge, most of the videos that I have on are hot edge, okay? That means the spring height comes it comes over the edge, which is usually higher. So if this was a hot edge seat, the wood would be coming up to here, and you'd probably have just a fox edging on top of the wood, and then you'd be tying the springs like you see in most of the videos. What I know I don't have, though, I don't have a video on this, on how to tie a wire edge seat, because I'll be honest, I don't like wire edge seats, first of all. I would never, if I were custom making a sofa, I would never do it. But that doesn't mean a lot of people are asking that, they might have a project that comes in the shop that they don't want to turn into a hot edge seat, which you can do. You can turn it into a hot edge seat if you want to put the woodworking into it, double the length of this wood rail, and then use the videos that I have from there. But if you don't, So what you have here, I'll explain what's going on here. These are higher springs. Usually they're number 9 or 10 springs that are in here. Whereas on most smaller pieces of furniture that don't have a wire edge, let's say it's an ottoman, they're a number 1 spring, right? Sorry, hold on a second. Giving you guys bad information. Number 1 spring, what that means is sometimes it's confusing. It's equals 6 rungs, right? And a number 2, 7 rungs. So they go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? And I don't know why they don't just call it a 6 rung, 7 rung, 8 rung. It's kind of confusing. There's an 8 rung, and then a 9 rung. We just go up to 9 for now. 9 rung. So you're up to about a 9 rung spring. They're pretty big springs, okay? So and the wood rail is smaller. So this is not done in a traditional like crown seat. It's not a crown seat. It's a flat seat. So what you have to do on this, first of all, is run a wire edge which is clipped on to the front, right? The front of the top of the spring, to the top run of the spring, and secured usually with other clips like zigzag spring clips on the side like that. Okay, and then what happens, see, I'm gonna show you here, and then I actually have a demonstration in over here with the tacks and the twine. But on the front rail, at the top of the front rail, you have 2 14-ounce tacks that are put in halfway, okay? And this is the part that you need to remember. This is the different part. This is the difference. Always on this, you want to start from the back to the front on your tying, and there's a difference on how long the twine is that you want. You want to go 1, 2, 3, 4 times the width, and what I mean by that is you're going over the whole thing to measure 4 times, at least 4 times, because you need to do things on the front here that you don't have to do on a coil spring. Okay, so you want to do 4 lengths, 4 widths. Sorry, and so what you do is on the back. So you have the back, and you take out about 20 inches or so, and then you run them. Let me show you on this. So let's say you have this cut, your twine. On the back reel, you also have 2 tacks that are ready to be put. The twine's ready to be put on. So you're about 20 inches. You run this parallel, and then you do the little eyeglasses. You see this a lot of times. I do this on those videos, okay? And then you go to the back rail and pull it, and this pulls around the tacks like so, and then you tack those in, and you have this long twine and a short twine. Okay, and then what you're going to do, usually there's 2 others. Hold on a second. So you might have 2 or 3, let's just go 2 springs on the back of these, okay, that are loose. Those aren't attached by the wire. And then you come up to the 2nd or 3rd rung, depending on how that's going to tilt. You never go up to the top rung on anything that you do. And then you tie. So this is the part here in the front that I want to talk about, okay? You could find out how to do that on the you can see the techniques I use on the YouTube videos. This is the part that I want to get to that's interesting. So the difference is you're going to come from the 2nd spring from the top. You're adjusted now to the top of the spring, and then you're going to go to the back here. This spring you're going to go to the top. Now this is the different part, and then you're going to go in between. You're going to come out to about the 2nd rung from the top. Right? And now you have to pull the whole row. Now this is the part. You're going to pull the whole row so that all these are tight, and you're going to tie. You can either go right or left depending on if you're a righty or lefty. You're going to wrap around like that. And so what that's going to allow you to do with the wrap like that is you can pull the spring. Okay? You can pull the spring, because what you have to do is pull the spring down and measure the height. You're gonna come down a little bit, not much, but you're gonna come down a little bit, and that height has to be maintained with all your other springs. Okay, so once you're satisfied with that height, you're gonna tack it in. Okay, tack it in, And then you're going to come around this tack. Watch how I come around here, this tack. I'm coming around this way. Okay, and then I'm coming around underneath this twine that's coming down here. I'm coming underneath, and then I'm coming back up. Now, I want to show you the reason you want to come. It's really important to come underneath. I hope this is translating well. I'd rather have the piece there, but it's really hard doing it this way. On the second twine, you come under and then go up instead of going straight up. That's the part I guess I wanted to talk about. Okay, so now you have all this extra twine in which to use. You come up to the top, and then you come back here and start tying this way. And then if you have enough twine, you can have the choice of coming back. Gee, I hope that made sense, you guys. I'm sorry if it didn't. I do want to demonstrate the tie around though. That's the important part. I don't know if they can see this, Mikhail, but so let's say you're coming through the second rung or third rung from the top, okay? And then what you want to do is you want to roll it this way so that you have some looseness here like this, so that you can adjust it. So the spring, right? And then you go to this one. This is the important part. This is what I wanted to show you. You come this way. Make sure you get it wrapped at least once around the tack. And then this is the important part. On that second twine, the way you do the rest of your work is that you're coming under this one, so that you don't go straight up this way, because it will wear out and it wouldn't be a good idea. So I promise that when I get a piece in here, wire edge seat, that will take you through the whole process. I just wanted to, I don't expect anybody to pick up that easy on this. I think it's much easier to show you. So the next time, right? So now I want to show you another project. These are kind of odd projects that don't come up that much. But another odd one did come into the shop that I wanted to show you. So if you guys have ever seen a chaise lounge where you have the front 2 points, you have your seat and you have your deck underneath your cushion, and you don't have anything to, there's no, it's just hanging out there. It's just on the front of the chaise. You don't have any arms or a back to go around. You might be wondering, how do you stitch that down? I'm going to show you with this piece. I have a piece over here that is an armless piece of sectional, and I think the visual is going to be much better. Patrick, do you have that on there? Mm-hmm. So let's just move this. Any questions before we get to this one, Patrick?
No. Daniel says awesome presentation.
Oh, thank you. So, how do you get that to be tucked in without a button? Now, the out here that most people probably would think about just putting a button there, but these are Thayer Coggin, and the customer wanted them done exactly the same. As a matter of fact, look, I have the label. Always when you have a high-end piece like this, you guys make sure you insist to the customer that you want to reuse the deck. This is the original deck, if you can, of the Thayer Coggin. This is really important because this is a very valuable piece of furniture. Without the labels, it's just another sofa. So she said, yeah, sure, certainly. And so what I had to do is, it's a pain, because you have to undo this really careful from the old. It was an old piece of fabric. This is the new. And then reuse it. It's a little hard. This one here, I had to take it in a little bit. You probably can see that because it was a little compromised there. But anyhow, I think it came out great considering. So, how do you get this to look so tight? So, I mited my corner. On the front edge, there's no seam here. You guys can't see this, but there's no seam in here. I mited this. I cut this about 12 inches, ran it around, and then made my cuts in here. And then I took this and I sewed this down, right? So then when I applied it, I made sure it fit, right? And then I fold this back, I fold the seat back onto the deck. And then in the salvage part of the salvage from back here, first of all, I took a curved needle, and I have a twine about a yard long, and I grabbed hold of the salvage in the back. Now this is really clever, you guys. Usually there's an opening in your frame that you can come the angle that you want in this. Oh, and then, so I got my 2 ends coming out. Let's say this is the salvage now, right? The curved needle did its job, and my 2 ends are coming out of the salvage. So what I do is I take my straight needle and I go both ends inside my straight needle, right? And then I usually try to run my through the furniture. Remember, this is up now. You're working from the back side, and then I run my needle through. I try to run it at this angle because that's what I find optimizes this tension that I want in here. But in this one here, I couldn't get through anyway, and I could have gone through the Fox edging here, but that's too close to the surface. You see, that wouldn't have done me much good, right? So I actually found an opening on the bottom and I came through the bottom, and I pulled this, and it was perfect. I pulled this tight, and then what I did was I stapled it. I loved it so much, it was perfect. And then I went all the way down that side, made my cut, and stretched it and stapled it all the way down here, you guys.
I can't see all the way down.
Well,
there.
they don't have to see.
Okay.
It's just that from here on the other side, it goes through the arm. That was the first thing I did after I did my twine. Then the second thing was I pulled it this way to the outside back and stapled it down there. Then it becomes very easy to do my my back stitch on the salvage all the way down and all the way down this way. Because why? Because I've got it right exactly the way I want it, and it's pulled tight. And it really came out great. I think my customer's gonna love the way it came out. So right now I'm doing these cushions, just to let you know, on this job with a beautiful top stitch. I'm not sure, maybe we could take a picture of this when it's done, Patrick, before it goes out for the next class. But okay, hey, you know what? We covered a lot, but we haven't even got to Jimmy yet. And I think, Jimmy, would you like to come up here? We gotta get Jimmy up because I realize how late
Wake up!
it is. What?
Wake up, Jimmy.
Jimmy, it must be the company back there with that cutout.
Yeah. Don't be next to me next week because I really, the guy's just too much excitement.
Let's just move. Oh, we don't have to move anything.
Yeah, it's just
Let's
good
move
enough.
this forward just a little bit.
Okay. You want to take the fabric off?
Let's take the fabric off. Let's get people to look at this to see what Jimmy did.
Move this.
Oh, is this in the way?
Yeah. You're taking away my best side.
Yeah, Jimmy. Wait a minute. How's that?
Just remember, people, he is mean. Don't worry. Don't let that
I'm not
smile
mean.
fool
Come
you.
on, I don't have a mean bone in my body.
Yeah. They all say that.
Jimmy, why don't you talk a little bit
Serial
about...
killers. That's what that.
Oh,
means.
Jimmy, why don't we talk about what we
Go ahead.
do?
Yeah. Okay.
So we use a 2-inch piece of high density, 2.6,
Right.
mid-ultra,
Yes.
which is the only foam that I sell. The only foam. It's the
And
best
tell them
foam.
why. Tell them why.
Well, the reason is it's the density, but it's also Cal 117 graded, which I'm not required. We're not required as residential furniture, at least in this state. I think in the country, we can use the cheaper foam, but the cheaper foam has no body whatsoever, and it's
Easy.
just,
It would break down quickly.
well,
right?
no, it just doesn't have it's pretty much too firm. Okay, there's no compression.
Okay.
No compression at all. This says, feel that
Yeah,
compression.
this is nice.
Feel that?
I never had. This was a great.
So if
lesson
you
today.
close your eye, and I had a horsehair back and a foam back there, you may not be able to tell the difference
Really?
initially. Over years, horsehair does outperform any other batting. We know that.
Okay.
But initially, it's pretty close to what a horsehair cushion would feel like. Horsehair would feel like. So what we do you want to explain the angles that we did, or do you want me to?
No, you can explain the angles. This is still
So,
a good lesson for us.
This class today, I think, was really interesting. And if you're gonna get a class, you guys, I think some people have already said they can't wait for the settee class.
Yeah, well, you know what? They're seeing it every week. There's a little bit of progress every week with
Yeah,
this.
but-
And this
but-
is definitely worth the lesson. itself.
This is a very interesting piece because you went from the pre-World War II, like we discussed earlier,
Yeah.
to post-World War II treatment, and that's a difference. That's what's going to be different for people watching this.
Yes.
So what we did was the reason we selected 2 inches because we're trying to duplicate what was there, and we're going to have it's a one piece, which is a little interesting too, a little more difficult, and a little bit more daring for a beginner to do a one piece because when you have 3 pieces, You could work on one piece, concentrate it on at a time, work on the other arm, and then work on the back, and then have a division here. We could have done it that way, but we wanted to do it as much like original as it was.
Right.
I mean, style-wise.
I just want to chime in that Erica says she bought the custom cut foam and can attest to the quality. She loves the foam.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's the foam. That's the only one we offer 2 types of cushions.
Okay.
2. I mean, foam's one thing, but cushioning, when you're talking seat cushions, there's a spring and down, which is like the Cadillac of cushions, which is
Okay.
expensive. But the foam is the only foam that we have. It's a little bit more than, it's going to be more than that cheap foam. By the way, that cheap foam has off-gassing that I don't like either. That's another bad quality to it, the
Is that
off-gassing.
through flammable or?
It's very flammable, and I still don't know why they're allowed to use it in furniture, but it's probably to keep the cost down, but I much like this. So I think that too, the flame retardant, it doesn't off-gas. There's no off-gassing on this.
Okay.
But I think what it does is it actually adds a little bit of body to it. So it makes it, in my opinion, the perfect foam. So we selected the 2 because of the thickness, because of and also when you look at the frame of this, you don't want to overdo it, Jimmy. You don't want to overdo it.
What do you mean overdo it?
I would call this a French settee
Yes.
if I had to call it a French settee. So what it
Daniel
is?
says don't smoke.
Yeah,
Don't
exactly.
smoke around it.
There you go.
Yeah, you and it might go up.
So when the French upholstered, everything was in the seat. Everything's about the seat,
Okay.
right? And the curves and the thinness of the piece is very important to keep that. So if you put too much padding anywhere on this, it throws the scale, the aesthetics are completely thrown off.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean, you know what they do? The French go really crazy on thinning it out and doing a good job, and there's a lot of work put into it, right? And then they go crazy with the seat cushion. Let's just show people if they haven't seen this yet. I can't wait to get this thing on with your fabric. Because watch this, you guys. You want to talk about drama? Look at that cushion. But that's what the French are known for. They're French. They have a chair, chair. It's called a balloon chair. And I bet, Gabriel, if you want to research something, research this, a balloon chair. It's the hardest thing to upholster because they have this huge springs in it. It's a small little chair, and it looks like a hot air balloon by the time, if you do it right, it looks like a hot air balloon.
Okay.
Or, remember the old Jiffy Pop popcorn?
Yes.
It looks like that.
Oh my gosh. Really?
Yeah. But this,
How do you sit in it
well, you don't.
without sliding on?
It's
Well, you
just-
only sit at it probably for a short time.
You know what? They're not made for big, heavy people. Let's face it. Now, so this piece, Jimmy, this is just bursting at the seam with so much down. I was telling Jimmy.
Yeah, be
You
careful.
were-
I see the back out there in the back driveway.
Oh yeah,
What's that?
Feathers everywhere.
yeah. We had an accident with the down cushion in the back, Jimmy. It's not a pretty sight.
There's a crime scene out there.
Really, Graham saying that?
Another settee card. Lauren is excited for that class as well.
Yeah,
So-
when this comes together again, this was definitely a lesson today because Kevin angled the.
Oh yeah. Let's take this off and talk about that, right, Jimmy?
Kevin angled the 3 pieces. There are 3 pieces, even though you may not see it. We spray glued the edges all the way up and down, and we glued it, and it dries pretty quick. Here in the shop, it's kind of warm, but it did get tacky kind of quick, and we put it together, and then we molded it, and then we cut it out, and of course, as you can see, stapled it all around. But this is quite the lesson today. This is definitely a
So
lesson
Jimmy,
to know.
I want to see if you retained something I showed you in the fabric. Why don't you dress it up again?
Pop quiz.
What's that?
A pop quiz.
Yeah, pop quiz for Jimmy.
And
I want to see if he can remember what I talked about on how we're going to cut the wedges. We call them wedges out. It's going to be almost the same cut or the same shape cut as the foam. Okay, so Jimmy's going to try to put the right side up, Jimmy.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah.
And now this is a good point. So Jimmy, look at your markings. You got that marked right on the back side.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have that marked? Of course you do. Of course. Remember now, it's up to you to remember to take that tape off.
Yes.
Before you-
Actually,
before
we
you
should put a
upholster it.
business card in here. For
Yeah.
you, help out the business a little bit.
So before you put the arm on, I just want to show people. So what Jimmy's going to do is he's going to get the exact center of his inside back. He's going to notch it a little notch, not a big notch, and
No.
then we're gonna pin it up there to make sure it's exact center. And then we're gonna come to one side, guys, and we're gonna draw a chalk line down here, and then we're gonna cut that a half of an inch this way, okay? And then, this is the part that might surprise you, Jimmy, because I haven't said anything. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna draw a chalk line right at the top of the deck,
Okay.
only the halfway point. Then we're gonna take it to our table, we're gonna cut that a half of an inch back, and we're gonna fold it in half and get our other angle and our other crescent shape. Keep in mind, it's a crescent shape on the bottom.
Pam, stay tuned.
And then what he's gonna do, once you put this on, I wanna see if this is the part I wanna see if you remember, this is important. So put that up there if you can, Jimmy. What are you trying to do when you put that up there? You're disregarding your angle, you're disregarding that wedge, right? But I'll let you try to, it's very important.
Trying to keep it straight is what I'm trying to do.
So what you wanna do is just
Not
drape it
angle
there,
it, but-
let that go, and step back about 3 feet. Step back about 3 feet. And stand completely straight and look at that pattern. That pattern has to be completely straight from the floor.
Right.
You're disregarding everything else. I mean,
Okay.
you're making sure that you got enough coverage, but you're disregarding this flapping over here. You're disregarding the back angle cut. You're not worried
Okay.
about that yet. So what you're doing is you're trying to get that straight. Now, do you need to adjust it, or do you want me to look at it?
Go ahead and look at it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, you're really off. I mean,
Am I?
Yeah, take a look now. That has to be straight.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
what your focus is right here. You're narrowing your focus down to like this 6-inch area right here. See, this is hard to do because you have to forget about everything else. You're only concerned with the straightness from the floor. That's what you're concerned with.
Well, the straightness.
So adjust it. It needs to be adjusted. Perfect. Okay, now let me take a look at it. So you're still a little tilted. So you need to really. People have a hard time with this because.
Well, you know why?
They can't visualize it. Now come back. Take a look at that. Don't look at anything else. Just look at that area there.
Okay.
Do you see that?
Yes, now
That's
it's
the
straight.
point.
Okay.
That's the thing. Okay.
Well, you know what it is? I think I'm trying to match it to make it look the entire.
You
panel.
don't have to worry about anything else on
Okay.
this part of it
Okay.
except getting this straight. Well, there's one other thing. You have to make sure you have coverage there.
Right.
Okay. All the other things that you're doing, like when I say coverage, this has to be enough to, you have to come this way, right?
Okay.
You need to make sure, but this is so important. Let me just get back there again.
Okay.
See how it's crooked? So you want to just a slight thing. So then after we do that, after we get it straight, what we're going to do is we're going to pin it or pin tack it, try to get this out as
Straighten
much as
up.
we can. So what has to happen, a lot of times you have to make little cuts over here just to relieve the fabric because this is a curve.
Right. So
And then we're going to draw a line down here, cut it a ½ inch this way, and then we're going to draw the line at the top of the deck,
again.
and then we're going to ½ inch that, right? We're going to make a piping. The piping's going to look much better, and the piping's going to serve as a pull. This is really important. The reason you put the piping in, number one, it's going to look good. Single piping.
But it also makes it stronger too, right?
Makes it strong, but it's going to allow you to pull, which is really important.
Okay.
It's a pull, okay? And it's
Okay.
going to pull out. We're not going to have one wrinkle in this when we're done. Okay, then we're going to run a piping along the deck, right along here.
Oh my
And
God.
then what we're going to do to sew the piping, this is really exciting. I'm getting really excited. You didn't think upholstery could be this exciting, right? We're going to
If you say so.
we're going to put a gathered or ruffled stretcher on that. Okay, it's a lot.
This is all new for us for me.
I know,
This
but
is-
what that does, instead of just, we have to draw a stretcher through here onto
Okay.
that piping.
Okay.
Okay, but what a ruffled or a gathered stretcher does, it's going to be about a 6-inch stretcher. What that will do is displace. It'll give you enough pull and displace the wrinkling that's happening that wants to happen on the front. You'll see.
Okay.
It's the way you put this on. I'm going to take you through step by step on this once it's
Right.
done.
Well, I think you need that because this can be very intimidating. People think, oh, I can just mold it to the corner. I can kind of.
Yeah.
Again, like what we did today, we had to split up the foam because it was just not going to be workable with regard to how you wanted it secured and how really firm it is right to the frame of the
Yeah.
settee.
So don't forget what we have, the online classes.
Yes.
We want to promote the online classes for people who are watching the YouTube videos and they want to be even better at upholstering the online classes. All these little things that come up. We have the time to actually do this, you know, in the online classes. The YouTube, usually it's done, I have to admit, it's done a little fast, quick. We need 2 videos. Okay, let's do them. And it's just me talking to the camera. But with you, Jimmy's asking all the right questions. Even with the spraying, there was a question about the spraying of the glue and things like that, or what glue to use and things like, you know, temperatures and everything else. So that will do it, I think, unless we have other questions, Patrick, or comments.
I think we're good. Gabrielle says it's been a very informative, dense show, so that's what we try to do.
There you go.
Did she mention me? No?
Let you out.
Well, thanks.
But I will let you close out, Jimmy, the question and answer. Just make sure you got the mute button
Hold
set.
on.
Yeah,
why don't you get another audience member in there with Jimmy then? to
Oh,
close it
really?
out.
Yeah, get that guy out. He's heckling me. Anyway,
Put him in front of the camera.
thank you for coming into the Upholstery on Broadway shop this week. We definitely had a good lesson and a lot of the great questions that everybody's been asking the last. Hey, then get out of my way. Good God, man. Get that ugly man out of the way. You know? Isn't he? No, he's one of those no, he's not. Okay. So anyway,
Oh, I don't have a mask on.
I hope everyone has a great week and a great weekend, and we shall see you next week.